Okay, I've already started taking these apart a little bit, but I figured I would start the video. We're going to be rejetting these stock carbs, and everything is stock on them, and I did 4-into-1 exhaust and a uni filter, UNI filter, foam filter. So I used carbjetkits.com, I believe it is the website, to basically, I put in my altitude, I put in what temperature I ride in, what my mods were, and then it gives you like a recipe for good carb jetting. So what the site kicked out was 118 mains, 38 pilots or 38 slow jets, and 2 needle shims per carb. So what I've started doing is I've started taking the hats off the carb, just because, several reasons. One is I'm starting here, and then while I'm doing the jetting, I'm going to try to keep everything in order here, but while I'm doing that, I'm actually going to scuff and paint these carb hats, because if you watched any of my previous videos, I did do rust removal on these, but they're starting to corrode again. I mean, I'm going to try to give them some paint, probably a semi-gloss black or something like that. So after you get the 4 screws out, once you get to the last screw, you kind of want to hold that, because as you can see, there's spring pressure under it, so you just got to watch that. You don't want to damage or lose the spring, but here's the spring. So I'm just going to take these off, and at some point I'm going to stop the video. So I'm basically, what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do shim one of these carburetors on video real quick here, and then I'm going to stop the film and go paint these things, because I want them to dry tonight, and they'll dry pretty quick. I'll be using engine enamel by Duplicolor. Stuff dries super quick. So give me a second here. I'm going to do this one on camera, and see what happens. Okay, so to do these needle shims, it's actually really easy, and you guys know that I think these are number 4 washers. They're nothing special. So once you get your hat off, you're going to very carefully kind of loosen up that diaphragm, and then you're going to slide the whole diaphragm out, being extremely careful of the needle. It's pointy and it's fragile, and you can mess it up if you roughhouse it too much. So once you have it out, if you look down in there, you're going to see the little, I don't know what you call that, a retainer, I guess. There's a couple ways you can get that out. There is a Phillips head in there. You can stick a Phillips head in there. You're going to push down and you're going to twist. That's how I like to get them out. Not how I put them back in, but that's how I get them out. So you're just going to go in there, and hopefully you can see. Push down, twist, slowly remove, and that's going to be released. Now what I like to do is just kind of hold on to that needle and dump out the retainer. The retainer does have a spring on it. I've never had the springs come off, but I guess it's possible. A little spring there. Once you have that out, you can very carefully empty your needle out. This is what the needle looks like, if you can see that. And what you're going to simply do is take 2 of these shims or washers. In my case, it's 2. You might only be 1. The deciding factor for me to get 2 was, interestingly enough, going with an upgraded air filter. So going with the UNI filter over the stock filter changed the kit to say, 2 shims. So once you have the shims on there, you're going to very carefully take it and slide it back into the opening. Now, when reassembling, because of that spring sticking down, it's very hard to get it to center up. So I like to actually use, this is a 5/16 socket on an extension. It's probably metric. I don't know what that is, 8 mil something maybe. I don't know. But you can go ahead and just kind of do it like that, and then again, use your little finger and ring finger and kind of hold that, and then you can tilt it upside down. And what you're going to do is just go ahead and kind of feed that up. It's going to be hard to show on camera, but feed it up and get it lined up. Once you get it in there and press down, you can see you can kind of do whatever you want. So you get it in there, you press down, and it takes a little bit of wiggling. Oh, there you go. Just got to give it a little wiggle. There you go. Little turn, lock it into place. And then when you go to reinsert it, you want to be very careful. If you can see down at the bottom there, there is the, I don't know what you call that, little tube, little orifice tube. I'm not sure. But you want to make sure you're lined up with that before you drive this home, or else obviously you can damage it. So, and one thing you want to do while this is out is they warn you not to drill these holes, but you can check them, make sure they're not plugged up with anything or clogged. These are all clean, so I've had these apart so many times to clean them. But anyways, you just want to go ahead and feed that in, and you might have to look from the side, and you might have to reach in there and give a little help. That one slid right in. And remember to be careful that these do have an orientation. There's a little ear that the diaphragm ear sits in. You can just carefully lift it up, turn it around, and get it seated. Do that for all of them, and then put your caps back on, and you will be done shimming. Okay, once you got your needle shims in, you see I took them back out. They're in the background there. You don't have to take them back out. I'm just painting those caps, so I figured I would kind of take them off to the side. And I'm also cleaning. What I'm going to do now is just show you how to do it. I'm not going to show you everything, because when I have this bowl off, I'm cleaning everything pretty thoroughly. So I'm going to show you how to swap the jets, and then probably take it back apart and clean it again. So pretty self-explanatory. To be honest with you, this is not hard. The hard part of this job is really just getting the carbs off. That's more difficult than actually working on these things. When you're working on these, what you want to keep in mind is you have to be clean. So don't work on these if you have chunks of grease on your hands. Don't work on these if you've got cat hair all over the place. Like, clean up your area as best you can. Put a towel down. And try to stay clean. So the first thing I'm gonna do is look in there and see if there's anything that I can clean out, wipe out. I've just had these apart not that long ago, a couple times. If you follow my channel, you might have heard about that. So they're clean. They don't look clean, but they're clean. So once you have that out, you'll find your main jet. It's in a main jet holder, and that's where that little tube, this is pressing down on a little tube that the needles go through. You'll find your slow jet over here in the middle on these carburetors. Other carburetors are, could be completely different. Again, you're going to want to take your floats out and clean the needle, make sure the seat's clean. But for now, we're just going to focus on these jets. So what you really want to do is get a nice screwdriver. Get yourself a nice, don't get one that you've been filing on to change the tip. You want it to fit, and my hand's probably going to block, but you want it to fit in there just nice. I mean, there's no play in that. It's in there good. And then you're going to want to just very firmly pop it out. If the holder starts to turn, if this is your first time in your carbs, go ahead and you can take that out. You want to clean it anyways, clean down in there anyways. But if it starts to loosen up, you can always get yourself a very clean little wrench and hold it. So you're going to take out your 112 in my case and drop in your 118. Again, pretty self-explanatory. This is really easy stuff. And you're not going to Charlie Atlas it. You're just going to kind of give it a snug and then take out the slow. That one you're just going to turn out until it's loose and then it just pulls out. These are the ones that if your bike's very hard to start and kind of won't run without the choke on, but doesn't run good with the choke on, and when you try to give it gas, it like basically wants to die out, won't take any fuel. These are my first suspect for that. They have a very, very tiny hole, and what I found that works best with this is a guitar string. Either the high E or really any of the wound strings. Just don't use the wound part, use the core. So you can, if you go to the end that you would normally put through the tune keys, you can use that. Give it a clip. That gives it a little bit of a point when you clip it with some wire cutters, and it'll fit down in there. You can really get them clean that way. But those are always suspect if you have problems with it. like that. So I'm taking out the stock 35s and I'm putting in 38s. Again, you want a good screwdriver. Screw them on down until it stops, and then just give it a little snug. And that's it. You can go ahead and put your bowl back on. Like I said, in my case, I'm going to clean things a little bit, but put your bowl back on. One thing that I'm not an expert on, and I'm going to have to do a little bit of research tonight before I finish, the pilot screws. I've read somewhere, actually, even in the jet kit instructions, it says remove pilot screws, see if everything is free of debris. I'm sorry, count the turns first. Compare this to the recommended turns from the service manual. Remove pilot screws, see if everything is free of debris. Make sure note of the condition of pilot screw O-ring. Reinstall pilot screws and set to recommended turns. I've heard a couple people say, you know, oh, 2 turns out is what you should get. I don't think I'm gonna mess with these. I think I took this back rail off and I cleaned these the last time I had the carbs off. I cleaned them real good, and I think I counted the turns, and I think it was, I don't remember them being like weird. I think if anything they were 2.5 out. So I'm gonna just leave these. I'm just gonna leave these alone. If I need to adjust them later, I'll take care of that. So that is that's how you jet these things. I mean, it's not hard. The first part there where I did the needle shims, oh, crap. You can do those. You can do those with the carbs in the bike. You just got to pull the tank up, because you can get access to pretty much all of the carb hats, and you just take the carb hats off and do it that way. So I've heard people doing that on bone stock bikes. You can Google it. I think Paul's Nighthawk page talks about those shims. So you can do that if you feel necessary, but you don't have to take the carbs out. This you will. I actually tried to do it with the carbs in. Tried to get a 90-degree, like one of those twist screwdrivers in here. It's just a nightmare. So plus you want to clean them. So that's that. We're gonna put these back together, and I'm gonna finish painting the hats, and we're gonna throw them on tomorrow and see what happens. And then along with this, I'm also gonna do a carb sync. So when it comes time to do the carb sync, that should be right after this part. Even though there's probably gonna be other stuff, you know, in the middle there, but we're gonna warm the bike up, obviously, so it's gonna have to run. I'll try to get the first start on there, probably put on this video. So that's that. If you have any questions, let me know. But let's see how this goes.
Done.
Thanks, bud. Can you help her? Okay. So the carbs are in. As you can see, I blacked out the tops last night. I got all this put back together, painted, new stem nut, looking fresh and clean.